Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Realness with 3 S's. I'm your host, Chantele Francis, here. Whoa, to talk about what I would have to say is the best episode, definitely of this season. Some are arguably saying of the new era. With me to talk about Operation Italy is my dad and my stepmom. How are you doing, G-Daddy and Sheila? What's up? Did you love this episode too?
Yeah, this episode was fantastic. I mean, I'm speechless, obviously, right? But the episode was fantastic. I thought I was in the theater watching a great heist movie like Goodfellas or Italian Job or, one of the Oceans. It was just great. It was great. I mean, sat there and I was watching it just so intent. It was just probably, again, like you said, for sure, the best episode of this season. I don't know about Forever or the New Era or anything like that, but for this season, this was an incredible episode.
Are you in agreement, Sheila?
Oh my gosh, yeah. I don't think I breathed through the entire episode. At least the latter half of it, it was like I just didn't even know that I was watching anything. Like I was so into it, so involved in what was going on. So it was classic. Just classic.
So I was watching it in a big theater with, 600 or so other people that are Survivor fans. And we were like, you could feel the energy of people intently watching something and like, like, it's like we were watching an actual movie. It was such an awesome episode to watch in a big group. And I loved every minute of it for sure.
Yeah.
Now, G-Daddy. People are asking whether or not your love for Andy has resurged after this episode.
Well, I am a flip-flopper. Let's just say. I think I might just flip-flop a little bit more here because, he changes it up. Andy did a great job on this episode. And, he's back in my good books again, I must say. Go, Andy.
Hilarious. Hi, Glenda. Glenda is here, joining us here today. Hi, Kathy. Good afternoon. Oh my God. So loving this episode. Absolutely. And the one thing
tell me more about the trip. Tell me more about, you went to the Houston event. Tell me more about that.
So with RHAP, we basically had a live event. And so Asia, from the beginning of the season, we work with her at RHAP and it's her home city. So I actually, at the beginning of the season, I was like, ooh, is she going to get really far? Because if we're going to go to Houston, like maybe they know in advance that she's going to be still in the game at that point. She's not, unfortunately, but we were in Houston. We didn't get any of the 47 survivors were at this event, unfortunately. I'm not sure why. It could be because it's close to Christmas or they have other engagements. I'm not sure. But we did have some players from previous seasons that were kind of hanging out with us. So Owen from 44, I think. He was there and did a lot of the interviews or like the recap after the episode. Lauren from, I can't remember which season she was from, one of the new era seasons. Carl from a long time ago was there as well. And there was a couple other people that I'm just forgetting at the moment, but no 47ers. So I couldn't analyze how they were acting. Maybe that's why. Maybe they decided not to come because it would be too obvious as to who was going to be winning the game.
Close.
So
did you get
maybe that's
a cowboy hat? Did you get a hat?
I was trying to get one. So when I was doing my bit up on the stage, I asked him, like, okay, so Houston, tell me, I need to know, where do I get a big black Texas hat? So I didn't get one though.
You didn't get one?
But,
that would have been cool.
I got some intel as to maybe where I could get one, but I just didn't have the time to actually go and get one. But I want a big black Texas hat.
That's what I had, a big black cowboy hat.
Yeah, they're I got
really
that nice.
In Dallas. I don't know where that one is. That was a great hat, my cowboy hat. We got pictures with it though, so that was a great hat. But let's move on. That's great that you got to be there and got to be with the crowd and got to experience it with the audience and so forth. That must have been special because I don't know, you guys timed it perfectly because I don't think that you could have had another episode. Like if it was the episode previously with Kyle, nah. This one was just like blew me away. blew me away. The editors did a phenomenal job with this. It was just a great episode. They really did. And I look forward to the next two episodes because it looks like their editing is getting better or something. I don't know what's going on, but it's great.
Maybe they're inspired or something because, there's all this gameplay that's happening and being able to tell these people's stories, and maybe the editors are having to be a little more creative with telling the story, just because so much more things are happening than it being just a straight vote. Maybe that's why, but like, I agree with you. The editing has been great with this episode, especially very movie-esque. Loved it. And I think we do get lucky a lot of the times with the episodes. I don't know if maybe Rob gets some intel as to what episodes to maybe, it would be the best to maybe go with a big group. But I think I've mentioned before a few seasons ago, Caleb, when he got that shot in the dark, was at a live event, and like he was just like on a table screaming and be like, yeah, like it was a wild episode to be in a room of almost 1,000 people. So maybe get some intel as to know which ones are like good ones.
Yeah, that's like tiramisu. You just
we will talk about Jeff's accent later on. So starting up this episode, we are right after the Kyle vote out. And so Sue is on top of the world. This is sweet revenge for Sue. Sheila, do you understand what this feud that Sue has for Kyle? Like, he seems like such a nice guy. Yes, he voted her once 20 days ago. What's going on with Sue? Why does she need to hang her hat on like this whole Kyle situation?
Well, I mean, as you're watching the show, from the face of it, it just seems like she's just, resentful that he wrote her name down and she can't really get over it. But from what the research I've done, it seems to me that she, I just totally lost it. She, it's coming. She,
it's like me when I tell jokes now.
Honestly, it just sucks to get old. I don't have no idea what I did today, but it was really good. And basically, it's right there. It's like right at the end of
Gabe too, right? So she was upset that Kyle helped to vote out Gabe. I think that's another thing that she was unhappy with, and also the fact, I guess, she got annoyed of his talking around.
Yeah, that's it. That's what I said.
Was that
it? Yeah, she said it was all about Kyle. Like, that's all he ever talked about was his poor and his family, and he's there for his family. And she just was over it. Like, she couldn't take it anymore. So I think there's a combination of her resentfulness towards him, but also his camp behavior.
Is this the one where she said she was drooling? Is this the same?
Yeah.
Well, I think she was drooling last week.
Was it last week?
And now, she can lick her lips because she got her tasty treat with a Kyle vote out, her sweet revenge. So nothing Sam really could have done here. So he recognizes that he's part of this group of five. That there is this group of five that's he's on the outside. We see that him and Genevieve do vote out Kyle here. And Sam's basically saying his hands are tied. Now, unfortunately for me with watching this episode is that I was told like right before I got in there that a Survivor like editor, like a person that writes for Survivor content, mentioned that this was an excellent episode. It's the best episode ever.
Oh,
and so
he spoiled it. Did
exactly.
He spoil it on you? Like, you're not allowed to do that. Like, you can't say this is the best episode ever. So you're going in there sitting with anticipation, trying to see. Yeah, he can't do that. I think that's a spoiler myself. When someone says, "Man, you should have seen what happened," or
he had written this already. Like, he wrote whatever that this was the best episode or whatever. That's all he said. And then it was somebody else told me that this writer had said this. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I'll probably be able to deduce going along the way what might happen, which will take away the shock factor from it. So I was already thinking like, okay, so we're painting now Sam as somebody that's like, oh, he's on the bottom. There's nothing that he could ever done. And there's this group of 5. And I was like, okay, they're painting this picture because it's going to be the completely opposite. It's going to probably happen. And so that was kind of how I was looking at things from the beginning of this episode. Still went on the ride, but I had an anticipation as to what was going to happen. So Caroline and Sue talk about their relationship, and so we see like elements of Sue crawling around and going into crevices and cracks. And I was watching Tyson's podcast, and he was saying, or somebody that was on the podcast with him was saying that area on the beach.
Yes, that's where they go pee.
Yeah, is their lavatory area where Sue is just like rolling around, and she's covered in dirt, as we think it's dirt anyways, covered in dirt. But yeah, I thought it was also funny how Sue's completely dirty, but then she's like cleaning up some dirt off of Caroline's like perfectly clear face.
I know, that was fun. That was really funny. But I think a lot of it is when she's working with the fire. I think a lot of it is soot coming up from the fire. That stuff's hard to get out. I understand. So I think that was a lot of it too. So it's not just the dirt. It is also her working with the fire and the soot coming up and the ashes and all that stuff. And maybe she's doing a little, what do they call it, contouring or something like that. Maybe she's doing a little bit of that. But yeah, that scene was really funny because her face was literally, like mine at that point. And she's saying to Caroline, hey, you got a little spot right there.
Just like, and apparently Caroline, like people have told Sue a little bit more that she has stuff on her face, but Sue didn't have any idea it was as bad as it was apparently. But she's taking it on the chin. We see her on TikTok. She's doing how to get a contoured look like Sue, putting her hands in different ashes and soot to give herself
oh, really? Oh, that's funny. That's cute. That's cute. But she doesn't have a mirror either, so she can't even see what she looks like, right? So.
And from what I've heard from other challenger or like survivors in the past is that they take away anything that has a reflective surface on it. So they like even like a knife, they'll mar up the knife so that it's not super reflective. So she doesn't know what she looks like. Genevieve goes and apologizes to Andy, and if we remember correctly, I did say she should be playing possum. I literally said that, and she said that in her confessional. And I think that she approached this episode and her mending fences with Andy correctly. You're nodding, Sheila. This is the right move for our girl.
My girl, she's back. She's back. I mean, she's really risen from the dead, honestly. She's amazing. And she played that really well. I mean, there's some scuttlebutt saying that it wasn't sincere, but, I felt like she approached it well. She didn't go overboard, and she was very thoughtful about it and very respectful. And I thought, okay, Andy, whether Andy buys it or not, I think there's an element of, she really was sorry because she already admitted, she needs to shrink her game. She needs to shrink. And so she's really smart. And, I thought she has risen again.
I love when she was talking about how her claws, she's been declawed now. And so she's just so timid. She's no dangerous anymore. You can play with her. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say there that she seemed a little insincere to me or disingenuous to me. However, I thought Andy did a good job of just, it's okay, or whatever he said. I thought he did a good job there. Just again, not letting any anger or any emotions come up over that. He just says, "Oh no, we have to do those things sometimes, or the perception. What do you say? The perception of people's gameplay is different, or something like that." But he basically embraced it and said, "Okay, she's now in my court. I've got her." That's what my guy did, Andy.
Patty says hello to all of us. They love our Survivor podcast with my fam. Enjoy hearing your different opinions. Thank you so much. Well, thank you, Patty, for listening. We do this for everybody. Just so, it's a fun time. So thank you for listening. And Ingrid, I will be doing my challenge recap tomorrow. Most likely, if I don't have to fly, I will do my challenge recap, which is late. I'm sorry. So Genevieve, I don't think had the same success though with her chatting with Teeny about their kind of game relationship and how things are going. Genevieve is kind of planting the seed that she thinks that Rachel is playing a really good game, and think that everybody's game would open up if Rachel was gone. And it kind of came to Genevieve saying that if Rachel's around, that it's not a slam dunk that she would vote for Teeny in this scenario. And Teeny was very, very offended by the fact that it seems like Rachel is playing a better game than she is. What did you, Sheila?
Okay, I mean, what has Teeny done? What has Teeny done? Honestly, like if she's sitting in the final three, what is she going to say? Like she has done nothing. She's just kind of being just like the leaf on the river. She's kind of been going with the flow. I don't feel like she's done anything massive. She's done, like Genevieve has a story to tell, and her growth and as she developed through the game. But I thought Teeny was just asking for a fight, like looking to cause discontent.
I agree. I mean, they're there at the beach. It's nice. They're sitting down together and they start talking. And, Genevieve basically says that, or Teeny asked, by the way, I think, that, would you vote for me or something like that at final? And Genevieve said, no, if you and Rachel are sitting there, it's not a slam dunk for you. And then Teeny got so pissed.
Yeah, is that a threat?
Like you're saying that Rachel's better than me and Rachel would win over me? How dare you say that? She doesn't have any respect for my gameplay. Oh, she got so offended over that. I mean, come on. I mean, and
I was going to say that I think it just felt like, she touched a hot stove, or like, Genevieve poked her in a spot where she was feeling insecure about herself. And so I think that that's kind of why she was maybe overreacting with the honest truth, because she didn't really want to see it for herself as to be true. And that she probably was just not feeling confident in her game and just hated the fact that Genevieve didn't even lie about it. She was just completely honest, being like, you saw a slam dunk, girl.
She didn't say no. She just said, like, maybe.
It wouldn't be a slam dunk,
It was a maybe. It wasn't a flat out, absolutely not. It wasn't like that. She just, okay.
But then Teeny goes back and starts telling everybody back at the camp what happened. Right?
That's her gameplay right there. That's what she does.
Yeah. But what side is she? She's been on what? One vote that she was on the right side, but outside of that, she's always been on the wrong side of things. I was blindsided again. You did that again. Oh, I'm sorry. She's always been on the wrong side of things, I think. And so I don't know how she would think that, Rachel, who's got a blocker vote and wins immunity and all of this stuff,
got saved at that tribal council. Like, even though it wasn't her doing, she was chosen to be saved and be part of the game. And it was in front of jury members and people that will, they might use that as like a, hey, someone felt that you were valuable enough for them to keep you in this game. And so, yeah, I agree. I haven't seen what Teeny has done to warrant her being so indignant about like somebody maybe not voting for her over somebody that's actually done a lot in the game. But Teeny is sick of Genevieve and Sam. She hates the fact that they are getting together and wallowing together. Like, how dare they be on the bottom and talk to each other about their positioning? Like, I was like, Teeny, come on. Like, at least allow them to wallow together.
I think she's still bruising, that I can't say it. I got to wait till we get to that part.
Okay, let's go.
So she tells Rachel and Andy that they have been saying that Genevieve at least was saying Rachel's name. And this was getting me a little bit nervous, obviously, because we know secretly that Rachel has this idol. And so I'm wondering, oh my God, all these plans that might come together just might be completely foiled by this idol that comes out. So I'm like, I don't necessarily want Rachel to have all the information. Anyways, but that's what I was just getting nervous, because right now, Sam and Genevieve, they're the underdogs. So I'm rooting for them to come out on top here. we get to the reward challenge. Basically, they're racing through these different obstacles, retrieving 2 balls, and then they have to land these balls on a perch. Their reward is going to be a sanctuary trip where good things happen with Italian food. And when Jeff was describing the food, like, he was he trying to do an Italian accent, or like, it was interesting, I would say. He didn't sell me on the food, but what did you guys think of Jeff's? Yeah, you're into it?
I want to have Caesar salad. That's all I know.
Crisp that's Caesar salad.
The crisp. No, it's fresh, crisp Caesar salad. It's not just Caesar salad. So
it's fresh and
craving.
That's the thing. That's what got my attention, was that. But yeah, definitely that seemed like a great reward, because hey, what are they going to get? They're going to get a lot of carbs, right? They're going to get the pizza, they're going to get the pasta, they're going to really get some carbs, which is going to give them energy in it. So I thought it was a great prize or reward for them to go on that challenge, and everyone wanted it, obviously.
Now, do you think with the food that we've seen on Survivor that the Caesar salad would be better than your famous Caesar salad that you used to make, back in the day?
With this one here, well, probably. I mean, the one I used to make was when I first discovered Caesar salads, right? So that was kind of lame compared to what we do now. But no, I think it would have been. I don't know. I don't know if it would have been good, because it's out there in the heat. And it's probably going to be welted, and it's probably not going to be fresh.
Crisp.
It's not going to be fresh. It's not going to be crisp. Do they not?
Yeah, but it's sitting out there in the heat.
It's got to be good then.
The flies are popping on it and stuff like that. Yeah, no, mine is definitely better.
As long as the rat doesn't get to it, we're good.
The rats will be like,
no, they won't want it. No.
The rat's a cameo.
This ain't fresh. No.
Thank you, Kathy. Yay. He also says that Tira Misu, and I'm like, what is he? Tira. I thought he said like Tiana Misu, and I thought he was talking about Tiana for some reason. I'm like, what? But it's like, oh, he's saying tiramisu, and I'm like, I thought it was also funny. Do we like tiramisu as a dessert?
Oh, I like it.
I don't like it.
You don't like it? You don't like the coffee, and it's so light?
It's just like, I don't. Yeah, I like more dense kind of
like
cakes,
chocolate cake or something like that.
Not necessarily chocolate cake, but you like this one too, but bread pudding. Like, I like that.
Oh yeah.
More like.
Oh yeah. If you're coming, bring some roti when you're coming too. Are you coming?
Where am I getting? Yeah, you're like,
you're coming from Toronto. Bring some roti.
If she's coming from Toronto, yeah.
Where am I getting bread pudding from though? I can bring roti, but
don't worry about bread pudding. We can get that here. The roti we can't.
Okay, I will bring.
We'll get bread pudding here, babe.
All right.
Yeah, I will come for, I think, 4 nights at the end of the month, I think.
All right. Roti.
Oh my gosh, please.
I'm gonna wrap it for you guys.
Well, wrap it, freeze it, put it into one of those containers where it's frozen, and then bring it.
Listen,
they'll even freeze it for you. I think Islands will freeze it.
Well, I'm gonna probably go to Mona's.
Yeah,
yeah. If you go to Mona's,
so I might bring it just the day, like, you know what I mean. I might get it the day that I'm leaving, and it will be warm still, Oh
my! Stop.
No.
Okay, I'll play puppy dog with tail between my legs. I'll play possum. I'll play giraffe, elephant. Anything I have to do to get that roti.
Okay. Roti's coming. I know my place. Right. I know my place. Rachel and Sam are pretty much neck and neck for most of this reward challenge. But at the very end, it is Sam that's able to get his ball up on the perch, the ledge. And so he is going to win this reward. And first off, he chooses Andy to join him on this reward. And Andy seemingly is very surprised. We also learned that Sam had promised Andy that he was going to take him on a reward. And so he was, making good on his promise to Andy. Andy was shocked. And then the second person that he chose was Genevieve, which was not something that Teeny was very happy with. We'll talk more about that in 1 second. But so with this reward, there's going to be pillows and blankets there because they're going to be staying overnight. And they're also going to be getting letters from home. And so they go off onto the reward, and we hear Teeny thinking that this was the stupidest move that they could ever do, that there's a very clear duo between Genevieve and Sam, and it was foolish that he picked Genevieve over her because she was most likely to maybe make an impact or be able to do something. You have a smirk, G-Daddy, or both of you.
No, it's kind of like she wanted to flip. Like, pick me so we can flip and do something together, it sounded like to me. Like, why wouldn't they pick me? Like, I thought that was a little strange, actually. Why wouldn't they pick me? Well, because you're part of that other alliance there, and I don't think I can switch you. I don't know. But I thought that was a little offsetting. What she said? She was hungry?
No, well, I think that she felt as though she was the most likely person to flip, and so they should be whining and dining her, even though she was going to stay true to her alliance. She thinks that it was stupid that they didn't try to butter her up and get her to switch over.
Yeah, she was very confident at that point. Extremely
I guess that she's the most likely to flip in her eyes,
especially if they wine and dine her.
Emphasis on the wine.
Well, yeah, if they wine and dine her, then easy to probably flip her over after a few, right? Well, of course. Well, let's do that. Let's do Operation. What do you call it again? Italy? No, I don't know.
Well, and the thing is too with her being so upset over this is the fact that she wasn't going to flip, I don't think. I think that it was just reinforcing the fact that no one's voting for her in the end, says Genevieve. And now she's seeing that she's not even valuable to the people on the bottom. People on the bottom have absolutely nothing, don't even want to try to utilize her as somebody that can help advance their game. And so I think she's just felt even more useless and non yeah. So
you make a good point there, I must say. You make a good point.
I mean, I think she's just feeling really badly about her game and getting quite indignant about it. So we go over to the sanctuary. This is the third time that Sam has been there. And Sam just talks about how he just really wants to make it up to Andy. He doesn't feel like he respected him in the game as much as that he should. And so they kind of make amends there a little bit. And then Sam asks Genevieve to explain her strategy as to not wanting to have any emotional ties, bonds, and connections to people. And Genevieve does, but she talks about how she realized with the Keyshawn vote when he went home, how much she hurt him. And so that's why she kind of put on this cold face for the game. But now she's learning that she actually needs to have these connections with people, which is kind of what I've been saying all along. I'm like, Genevieve, you're ruining your own game. Not having these connections with people is what is going to allow them to vote you out of the game as well. And so the fact that she learned this and recognizes this, I was very happy that I'm like, okay, she's coming around. Sheila, you're happy too?
Oh my gosh, yes, it was so good. It was such a great moment. And can I just say one thing with Teeny? I mean, the classic was back at camp after that, and she's like, I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to, I'm going to have to think about what I'm going to say because I'm just so angry. And then she just spews. And then she just keeps talking. It's like, okay, maybe you don't have to think about it. Like she was just like,
is this when she was doing the Sam imitations?
No, yes.
I thought that was pretty. I thought was funny. I mean, she really went for it. That was kind of cool. She went for it, and it kind of showed me what she kind of might be really like a little bit. With her doing that little act on Sam, and everyone was laughing, obviously, but she's funny. She's funny.
Well, this other recapper, I believe is from this. I believe he's from New Jersey, and this recapper is from New Jersey, and apparently he was saying that like it's kind of New Jersey like to make fun of people and kind of do like an imitation of like how they would be, and so it's maybe could be part of her New Jersey vibe and upbringing that brings out this like you know
that makes sense now.
Yeah.
That makes sense. She's from New Jersey. That makes sense. Okay.
It's kind of funny.
Now it's all coming together.
So I did have a little tear that I shed when Genevieve was reading her letters from her dad, and her dad saying, I'm sure that you have so many friends. And she's like, and I have no friends. I have no friends out here. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm like choking up now. Like, I just I felt for Genevieve here that she's just put on this cold, demeanor. She doesn't want to be affected emotionally because it was going to harm her game. And her dad, who knows who she is in real life, thinks that she's going to be getting along with everybody and having such a good time and making all these friends and connections. And she chose not to do that in her game. And so I felt it touched me. I felt I had a soft spot for Genevieve.
So I'm kind of curious. Then in the theater, was everybody like trying to cover they're crying in the theater? Was that what's happening? The whole theater was starting to sob, or was it just you?
I think it might have just been me. The people beside me weren't crying.
They were?
No, they weren't.
So did you sneak the wipe, or my eyes are tired?
I was just like, oh man, like some smoke in here or something. Some of that soot got in my eye.
No, I think Genevieve fans will appreciate that because she really came down, like she was raw. She was raw. It was like, wow, realization. Like, no, I have no friends. I'm at the bottom of my game, and what do I have to do to make this right? And she figured it out. And I think that's
she also like said that everybody has branded me as this big strategic player, and everyone didn't brand her as that. She said that she's got no emotions and all that stuff. So I don't know.
Oh wait, you're not.
She was on the Genevieve train still, but no, she actually said that she's playing strategic, she's not letting emotions come in, and then she says everyone's branded her as that. So
I mean, yeah, I think she was looking at it in terms of the Saul move was like this such a big strategic move that made her this whole like this big bad wolf. And like, yes, she has been saying every time that Jeff is asking her at tribal council like about the not wanting to play with emotions, and I think it's also when she's saying like, yeah, people have branded me as this, I think it's because she's realizing that she's not that. She actually does have emotions. She does want to connect with people. She does want to make friends. And so I think she's realizing that it was her own doing that she has this big brand and label on her, and she doesn't really want to be seen as that necessarily anymore.
Okay, I'll come back.
Maybe.
Well, I mean, look Sam called her on it during Reward and said, so, I mean, it's not it's pretty common knowledge. That's how she is. But, she didn't want to, she got burned with Keyshawn and she didn't want to feel those feelings again.
I played some of these games, not obviously on the scale of Survivor, but, online or in person. And it's like, I don't know these people for like, I've never met some of them in person. I've known them for a couple hours, and it's actually hard to do when you make connections with people. So I can understand like it being hard to, take people's dreams away and ruin people's games. So I get it. But,
however,
sorry, Genevieve.
That's part of the game. Right?
And like she said, it's just as easy for them to vote you out because they don't have that connection with you. So as valuable as it is for a player to have the connection with other players, it also determines your fate with the jury. If they don't really connect with you, then they're not going to have that emotional connection where they feel like, oh yeah,
so they did
this, but oh, they're great.
I'm going to agree with you. Then she came around at the right time now. bringing her emotion.
Okay, babe, you'll come on the Genevieve train yet. It's okay. Don't
So
worry.
Sam's brother in his letter is really proud of him. We also learned that Andy's mom is a big fan of the show, and this is probably the proudest that she has ever been of him.
That's where I cried. That's
you
where
cried?
I cried.
You did?
Well, no, I didn't really cry, but I felt some emotions there
Mm-hmm.
because he said that his mother's a super fan and she's going to be so proud of him. And I said, "Oh, there's my guy, Andy." Yeah.
I was already in an emotional moment. I usually don't care about like the loved one letters and stuff like that. Like, but these ones, for whatever reason, kind of got to me this time around. They were sweet.
So was that
because I
melting?
know them. Pardon?
Were you tearing up, and was it starting to build up? You know, from that little sad, and all of a sudden you're bawling, or
no audible tears. I've had audible tears in my life, but like at one of these events, but not this time. No.
Oh wow. Okay.
So this is when Teeny is pissed, and this is where she's personally upset that he didn't take her, and basically says that Sam just quit the game because he didn't take her on this reward. And she's like, I don't know if I'm just a man hater or at my core, and she's impersonating Sam. Like, it was entertaining, but I felt it was also unbecoming in the sense, like, you know, he's just at the bottom and he's doing the best for his game, and you know, you just kind of have a hate on Sam for things that he can't really change. Like, he's a tall, good-looking dude, 24-year-old, that could be potentially, you know, great at some of these challenges. Like, he can't really change some of these things, and he hasn't been unkind to her, hasn't been, you know, specifically rude or mean to her. So she just doesn't really have any reason to be so upset with him. And so I just didn't really love that for Teeny's my view of her, but it was funny, we'll say.
It was funny. I must say that it was funny. But I totally agree. I mean, you know, he can't help all of that. I mean, the guy is magnetic, is charismatic. He can't help that.
But don't
So
you find
I think it probably goes back to her life outside of Survivor too, right? So she's bringing some of those emotions in.
What were we going to say, Sheila?
I was going to say, did you find that the editors really played up when she was ranting about Sam, and Caroline's like, and Rachel, they're like, but they really didn't feel the same way.
They were letting her have it, yeah.
Yeah, because like Chantele, you bring up great points. I mean, he's just playing the game. She shouldn't, you know, neg on him for playing the game. He's just doing what she would have done if she was in that position. So I think she's like just being a little unfair. But I just felt like the Caroline and Rachel were really kind of insincere, like, yeah.
No, yeah. They were laughing. They were laughing.
They were laughing.
I think part of it was that she was solidifying that group against Sam as well, right? So she got them all laughing together. She did her bit, and it solidified them because now it's the four of them all of a sudden, right? I kind of like this like this group right here. That was Rachel, but she solidified that group by doing that. And, you know, yes, they were a group before, but now they're a group of four, right? So they basically
Sam out next, you know, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So I
Genevieve,
think that was,
and then Andy.
Yeah, I think she was in the power position at this point, sitting back there with the four of them, and we control the game, and the guy's stupid for, you know, all of these things. So we're going to get rid of him. We're going to pick them off one at a time, you know.
Now, this line was said next was Caroline in a confessional, talking about how she could see her way to the end of the game. She could see the $1 million. She could see herself winning and making that final pitch at final tribal. And I was like, uh-oh, whatever the editors leave this in, everybody was like, we were all just talking. He's like, this is where he's because like they never leave this in, like, in this way. We just knew like something was, her overconfidence was going to be kind of slapped down. It was just a classic Survivor editing that I was like, we all got very worried for Caroline at this point.
Dead man walking at that point.
Yeah, we started, the worry started to happen for sure. So we get back to the sanctuary, and it's the morning, and Andy, he woke up with a plan. And he tells them about the Underdog Alliance, how they have a block a vote. Sam was very shocked that they didn't know, like him and Genevieve were the only two that didn't know about it. And so Andy has decided that he wants to make his mark. He wants to make his mark on the game. He wants to push things in a new direction. And I think this is partially the Genevieve of it all, like saying that he's just a goat that they're dragging to the end. Like, he doesn't want to be a goat that they're dragging to the end, especially because he's such a big Survivor fan, because he studies the game and he knows the game so well. He doesn't want to just be dragged there. He wants to make his mark. So they decide to come up, or he comes up with Operation Italy.
How many titles is this that he's got now? He's got
like 5 in a row or something.
All of them pretty much.
4 in a row.
Yeah.
A lot. I feel like there's like 2 that he didn't have.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which is very impressive. Now, if I remember reading the stat correctly, that other people that have had a lot of episode titles, majority have not won the game as well.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know where this stat will fall after the season, but so Andy says that they need to have a fake story here. Basically with Operation Italy, they're going to need for a split vote to happen. So did you guys understand like what was kind of going on with what needed to go down with all like the votes and why things need to go a certain way? You did, Sheila? You're all in on it? Because I know you're always like, carry the one. And
we are seasoned now.
Oh,
of course we knew.
It was classic. It was just so good.
It was great. It was great.
They call it a plurality vote. It has been done in the new era before. So if you remember, Marianne, I think she had like an extra vote that she was able to make it a vote like this, where basically you split the vote with the majority, and then one person flips, and so it takes over the majority with only with having less numbers. So they need to have a 2-2 split or a 3-2 split, and Andy would be the one that would be able to jump over to the other side, and so it'd be 3-2-2, which is always a very fun vote for the audience, I find, because just working pieces in order, and it's using numbers to take power in the game, because the people in the 2-2 vote split, they had everything. They have 2 idols. They have a block of vote. We'll soon find out that they will have the immunity idol and Rachel. And so they have all the trinkets and doodads, and still, the opportunity for the real underdogs to come out on top is really fun and delicious.
I thought that this was perfect, though, for Andy to be discussing it, because he's discussing it with 2 people that are on the bottom. So obviously they're open to his idea. And on top of that, he recognizes that, if it goes to 5, he's on the bottom anyways. Mm-hmm. He's not going to go further if he goes to 5, right? Unless he, wins immunity or something like that at that point to go to be at the final 4. So I think that he recognized that, and he had to make a move at that point. There was nothing else that he could do to not only show that he actually has some moves, but also to be able to become, well, they don't actually become the majority, but at least he breaks it up that now at least it's 3-3. Again, not knowing that the other group has got so much hardware, but at least it's 3-3. That is what he was going for. And we didn't know that Rachel was going to, as we talk about, she's going to win the immunity, right? So we didn't know that at that point. But yeah, I thought that was a move. He did it at the right time. There was no other time for him to do it. If he would have waited, it would not have worked. Yes, there's a lot of things that could have went wrong, but he at least put the plan out there, and they worked on it. I thought it was great that they had time to sleep over and actually discuss it and actually plan, because there's not that much time that I've seen in this season where you can actually go and strategize with people. You always got to be jumping from one thing to another, and I want to talk to these guys and try and swing them. They don't have time for that. So I thought that overall that was great. Great move. Great move that he, put that forward to those guys, and they went for it.
I love the spy music that was playing when we're learning all the different elements that need to come together. Sam was going to be playing dead here. You know, it's like, oh, I'm dead man walking. Like, I'll do whatever you guys say for me to do. And he's like, yeah, I'll vote for Genevieve if that means that I'm going to be able to stay in the game and get your Oscars ready, everybody. Like, everybody was definitely playing their part. The next part of the plan is they need to have the split vote. Genevieve also needs to make it, or they need to make the other side know or think that maybe Genevieve has an idol. So Sam had given her his dead idol from pre-merge. She uses that with some beads that he had from Tree Mail to make a fake immunity idol. And then all the acting begins about how hard they pitched everybody. They pitched, Andy, they wined and dined them. They wined and dined them. They wined and dined them. I did get worried with how the repetition of what he was saying about what went down, that he was maybe overkill, overplaying it a bit, and that they might get spooked. But yes, it was still definitely it was great watching him work, even though I was worried. I was getting a little bit, be careful, Andy.
But he went around to everybody individually. So I thought that was kind of cool when he did that and said the same thing to everybody. But yeah, I thought that he put and started to plant things into their minds. And obviously what he wanted to do is show them that, hey, I'm part of you guys still. I didn't flip. I'm part of you guys. Those guys, man, they tried to wine and dine me, and that's not gonna happen.
It didn't work. Ingrid here is reminding me of how this actually went down. So with Marianne, the majority wasn't splitting. She made two of them believe it was Lindsay, made two people think it was Romeo. And with Romeo and her extra vote, she sent Omar home 3-2-2. Right. But remember, it was, she used her vote to make it a plurality vote like this. But yes, you are right, Ingrid. Thank you for the reminder. Dreadful says the fact that they didn't consider that Andy could flip as well, they at least should have had him on the two side of the split. He spent all that time with them. How did they not suspect something? I'm thinking the reason, like, he could have easily said, like, hey, like, Sam just took me on this reward. I don't want to be the one that's voting for him. I'm fine if he goes home, but I don't want to be the one voting for him. Like, I think he could have just easily have said that, be like, he's my original Gata, tribe member. I don't want to vote for him. I think that could be easy. But we do hear from Caroline that they kind of, well, at least from her perspective, wanted Andy to feel like he was part of something. And so they did let him have this, or she did anyways. That's something that she kind of was saying, that they allowed him to do this because they wanted him to feel like he had some agency, that he was involved in some of the decision making. And so that, from her perspective, that was one of the reasons why they allowed Andy to split the vote.
Yeah, she was supporting it, but definitely Teeny didn't want to have it happen at all, because he's saying that I'm afraid of the idol, and I'm afraid of the idol, and she didn't buy it. And then you've got Rachel saying, hey, we don't even have to do a full split. We just have to put one vote on Genevieve and the rest on Sam. So there was a lot of room in there that it could have gone either way with that. And yeah, I'm surprised and surprisingly happy how it ended up going. But yeah, there was a lot of moving parts there. Anything could have went wrong there with that. It was just absolutely amazing.
Yeah, definitely underestimating Andy there, Caroline. And Genevieve saying putting all the votes on her, it just seemed obvious that something was, it seemed from the edit, it does seem like obvious that something was up, but I don't think that they would be able to tell in the game. You don't think so?
I'm agreeing with the Dreadful Ruby here.
Oh.
I didn't agree when she came up, or when she was talking to Teeny and saying, put everything on me. Just put everything on me. I'll be fine. Are you saying what I think you're saying? Yeah, I'll be fine. Just put everything on me. I thought that was so weird. Her acting there was terrible. I mean, seriously. She was over. Go ahead.
I was going to say, another thing too, though, like, yes, I definitely thought it was like Sam standing right there, knowing that Sam is likely the other vote, and, saying, put all the votes on me. I think it also could, play into like, they don't know if Genevieve will actually put the votes on her, or if Genevieve will put the vote, like use the idol on herself, or use the idol on Sam. So I think it was also to maybe put some more confusion, like, oh wait, they're saying to put it on me for sure, like maybe we should put the votes this way. I don't know. I think it just to cause a little bit more confusion, and also I guess maybe she thinks that Teeny is gullible.
Well, she was gullible. She was gullible. I gotta step out for a second, okay? Doggy.
No Dog takes the cake. So we get to the immunity challenge. We'll talk more about how this vote goes down in a second. It's going to be testing balance, dexterity, and touch. They're going to be going on a beam while transferring a ball on a platform on a pole, and then maneuvering these two skulls on a pole through like a maze, and then rolling these balls onto three out of 5 targets on like another wooden platform type thing. Hard challenge, but a very typical Survivor challenge, I would say. Anything exciting happen with this challenge other than the fact that Rachel won, which was surprising, that she's come out to be the comp beast now that Kyle's left the game.
I know. And she really handled that well, considering she doesn't apparently do well in those kind of challenges where she has to focus. But she was great. And the way she held her body and had the control, she was great. So, I mean, editing, we don't really know, but the editing made it look like she did great.
So a lot of people were wondering whether or not Genevieve and Sam, if they threw this. And Sam responded with, no rock was left unturned in Operation Italy, and that in order for this plan to work, Rachel did need to win immunity. So it may not have showed that in the episode, but it seems from what Sam has said on Twitter was that they wanted Rachel to win immunity here. So take that as you will. So Sam and Genevieve are talking, and she says that, wait, she has his vote. Oh, Sam says to Genevieve, like, if it's going to be either me or you that goes tonight, Sam's like, if you are the one that's there in the end and I go home, like, you have my vote. Which I was like, interesting that they left that in there, because I'm wondering if Genevieve actually will go further than people are giving her credit for. We thought she was a dead woman walking 2 episodes ago, so the fact that she's still here is interesting to me.
I agree.
She shows Sam the fake idol and how well she was able to make this idol look legit. Teeny, though, back with her underdog group, says that she doesn't think that Genevieve has an idol and she wants Sam gone. She just wants Sam gone. But then we see Teeny walking up to Sam and Genevieve, and this is where she's like, yeah, keep it on me. And does end up showing Teeny the fake idol very quickly because Andy's coming up. So just kind of like a blink and you'll miss it. And where's the note? And she's like, oh, I buried the note. I can get it for you if you want. She was not going to be getting no note for Teeny. But I think the fear of potentially okay, there's an idol here. It could be, if we don't split the vote, like they definitely have the power to take someone out. So we might have to just do it this way because they're scared. So yeah.
Do you think that Andy came up walking on purpose at the right time there? Or was that
I think editing? It was happenstance. I don't think it was intentional.
That was perfect timing.
It was perfect because then go, like just like wave the idol in front of her, and
that part was good, I must say, when she did that.
Andy though is the mafia boss here, and now that Rachel has won immunity, he wants Caroline gone. But also Sam and Genevieve thought Caroline was the next best thing beforehand. So it was great that at least they all came up with the right next person. And Andy still wants to go through with this plan in some capacity. Now that Rachel wasn't an option, Caroline is somebody that is a second best option. And now they can break up the Caroline and Sue faction.
Mm-hmm.
Sam says, though, he will vote for whomever, as long as it's not to him. And you know that it's him. Like, like they were not acting as though he had a chance in hell. I thought it was wild, though, that Caroline went through Genevieve's bag to see whether or not she had the idol in there. You didn't like this?
Are you talking to me or talking to Sheila?
Daddy.
No, I thought, I thought it was, because she's so proper and, she's a nice
like
person.
Good game and very supportive.
Yeah. When she says, "Hey, I could go through her bag," now what the heck? You could go through their bag? Come on, So she went through it, but she didn't find anything. But that was offsetting for me a little bit when she did that.
Yeah, I was surprised. I didn't think that Caroline would go through their bag, but I guess it's allowed.
Yeah, that's what Sheila and I talked about. Like, hey, it's part of the game. They could do that. Person leaves a bag around. Hey, anyone could do that, right? And we've seen them do that before in other seasons, I believe.
And look, Sue said when they merge, they're going to go through my bag. So maybe it's something they do.
Maybe, or just like scared of.
And also, can I just make a point?
Yeah.
With Sam saying that Rachel was supposed to win. That's not what Andy said when Rachel won immunity. He was like, she's like, now what? That, like he didn't come across to me, at least the editing, that he was happy and joyful that Rachel won immunity. And that falls into the plan. It was like, oh, now we have to, what are we going to do? And he kind of was like concerned about it. So I don't think they necessarily threw it, but I don't think they were trying to win it either. You know what I mean? Like,
for sure. Well, unless I wonder if maybe Genevieve and Sam knew that it was better for Operation Italy to go through with Rachel winning, and maybe Andy didn't know that was the best, like optimal for them, and they were happy because like they came on to Caroline being the next best option, and then it took a little bit longer for Andy to come around there. So. True. Maybe those two had it being like, okay, well, because they had contingency plans, right? They said like no stone was left unturned. They had backup plans with every scenario, and so maybe they did talk this through, but we just didn't see it. Maybe. Dally here says, hold on. Going through bags makes no sense. Either you find an idol and split the votes, or you don't find an idol and think that she has an idol and split the votes. So why bother? It's desperate. Maybe it's just to know definitively. But like, they also don't know definitively. like it doesn't matter if you do or you don't know. You just split the votes.
Split the votes.
Split the votes. Split the votes makes things obviously easy for people to make a move, but it also usually is safe. It's a safe bet that you won't be the one going home. Usually. So Sue is definitely afraid that Caroline might be someone that's going home. I believe by this time it's said that Caroline is who that that Genevieve is going to be voting for. But Sue wants Caroline protected, and so if she feels uneasy at all, she's going to use her idol on Caroline. Rachel, of course, is nervous about the split, because it's very easy for someone to flip with a split vote and you lose your numbers advantage. But Andy says, but we need your block of vote at 6. And so I thought that was good. They'd be like, no, like we need your block of vote at 6 so we can get to the final 5. And so, and Rachel has immunity. So she's not as nervous for herself anymore. And I think that this is why Genevieve and Sam were probably happier with Rachel winning this, because if she is not worried about her positioning in the game, she's not going to play as defensively and fearfully and I gotta use this vote, or I gotta do this. She's not going to use any other hardware that she might have. So it is best for them that she won this because she's not desperate to save herself. So Genevieve is worried that Operation Italy could be a bust. There's so many ways that it could go wrong. If the split vote doesn't happen in the way that they think that it's going to happen, if they play the vodka vote, if Andy gets cold feet and doesn't actually decide to go through with the plan, if Caroline decides to play something on herself. And so there's so many ways that this Operation Italy could go downhill. And it was riveting and scary for they must have been terrified but excited going into this tribal. How would you guys feel?
I thought it was great. I definitely it was intense going in because I think Genevieve was the one that said that at the time that they need to know that they've been hoodwinked. Basically, she didn't say hoodwinked, but was going to be right
when the votes were read.
And it really went down to the last vote with the editing. The last vote that was read, that's when the big reveal for everybody. And it was just awesome. It was just awesome that happened.
So good.
Poor Caroline. She was so shocked.
At the tribal council, talking to Genevieve, she talks about how she realizes now that she needed community. And then we hear from Teeny again, like why she wasn't chosen, pushed her into a different direction. And, now she's... It was interesting because we knew that this whole plan was at least going to be attempted here. And Teeny had absolutely no idea, that even any of this is going on. Speaking from a position of power, speaking from a position that she knows everything that is going on right now. And it was almost like the editors were poking fun at her again. She's getting egg on her face again, unfortunately. She does say a good line, though, that perception is reality on Survivor is as common as saying bless you as a response to a sneeze. Jeff definitely found this to be a funny little comparison. And they're all thinking about the end game at this point, too.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
They talk about with Sue being it was like a very relaxed vibe at camp. I'm like, there's never a relaxed vibe. If it's a relaxed vibe at camp, you don't know what's going on. It's never there's always something happening. It's never an easy vote. It's never a relaxed vibe. If nobody's talking, they're not talking to you. It's just there's all these tells about the vibe at tribal that didn't seem like other people were really picking up on. Andy's playing into it, being like, where's the catch? Teeny very confidently say, though, that has a pecking order that has been decided, and that's that. It's like, okay, Teeny, that's that. Sam playing into it, he feels really powerless. Genevieve said that she's going to swing for the fences, so this is kind of alluding to the fact that she has an idol, and so she was going to be playing it seemed. And then it gets time to vote, and they all go up and they vote, and then Jeff asks if anybody has an idol they want to play. And I love this little fake fight here with Sam and Genevieve about play it, no, I'm not. Because this will allow anybody else that has any idols to not play. If she doesn't play it, nobody else is going to play their idol. And so I thought it was really smart and strategic for them to look like they're having a discussion about playing the idol. Don't play it, so nobody else would trigger them wanting to play theirs to protect them in case of this happening. And
I like that part.
Then they also potentially have this idol that they still could be considered to be valid, right? Mm-hmm. So it keeps the fear of this idol out there for them. So I thought it was really, really great that they had this little spat. So we get to the vote. Let's go Sam, Genevieve, then Caroline gets a vote, then Sam again, then Genevieve, then Caroline. So it's tied 2-2-2. And then the last vote is revealed, and it is Caroline. And then somebody said, oh, Andy flipped again. Who was it? I couldn't tell.
Saul
was in the back. We saw Sierra turn, and then also Gabe turned as well. I thought it was a Sierra that said it when I was watching it in the at the theater.
I thought it was Gabe,
but then it looked like Gabe when I rewatched it.
Gabe and Saul.
Yeah.
So I think Saul said it's Andy's doing, and I think Gabe said Andy flipped it, or he flipped again, or something like that. So there was those two, Saul and then Sierra did look over like this way, I guess, looked over at them, and but yeah, it was Gabe and Saul.
And so now, how did you perceive the Andy flipped again? Because some people think it was like, Andy flipped again, like kind of negatively looking at this, but then other people saying like, oh, Andy flipped again, like it was him that kind of had the power in this vote. So how did you guys see it?
Sure.
I saw it as negative, Andy. There he goes again, flipping again. And with Sierra right there, you know that she's dogging on Andy, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that Andy got he got basically labeled from the very beginning the type of player he is and so forth. He flip flops and is unreliable in his chaos and so forth. So he's been tagged with some actually not supporting labels for his game. But yeah, I agree with Sheila. It was like Andy flipped again. So it was kind of one of those annoying things it seemed like that they had to me. But I thought originally it was Sierra until I looked closely and saw that it was the other two. Because like you, I thought it was Sierra that was saying it.
Now, I agree when I felt it was in a negative light. But if, say, Sam he ends up getting voted out, I do think that he might have some positive words for Andy. Like Andy just saved. I think that Sierra and company are probably rooting for Sam in this moment, seeing that they're kind of outnumbered here. And so if Sam doesn't make it to the final tribal and is in the jury, I can see him maybe advocating for Andy was our lifeline here. Andy came up with this whole thing to save us. And like, yes, it was to position himself to maybe be in contention for a win, but also it was him that made this plan go through. And so, yeah, he flipped, but he flipped for the better of my game. And so he might be able to get some credit from it, but I do agree with both of you that it wasn't looked at in a positive light from my perspective either.
And in fact, he was the straw that stirred the drink or something like that. So
I never heard that one, but
yeah, that was in there. Sam said it.
No, I mean, ever before Sam did say that, but I've never heard that.
You have never heard that saying?
Idiom? Is it an idiom
or
an analogy? What are they? Idioms or analogies? It's analogy.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's I don't know, but
I've heard the straw that broke the camel's back, but I've never heard the straw that stirs the drink.
You need the straw to stir the drink, I guess.
You need to stir that drink. But I just feel like that Andy's great plan really benefited Genevieve and Sam the most, because I feel like it was a great move, but where is it going to go?
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second, because I'm not sure how it's going to work out for any of them, but we'll soon find out. Right. Jorge wants to know, why didn't the four girls here pull in and Gardo and target Andy? They were going to vote him off eventually and negates Genevieve's possible idol on her or Sam. Perfect counter move. Yes, I was worried that with Andy pushing so hard that they might be like, let's just take our 4 votes and just vote Andy out of here, and we don't have to worry about him flipping. We don't have to. Well, Genevieve, if she has an idol, she will play it. I think, though, that their fear was that both Andy or Genevieve and Sam would still be in the game. And so I think that they wanted one of those two to be who went out. And that's probably why they didn't want to make this counter move. But they should have, if they wanted to take control, if they wanted to have control of the vote. Diana says Andy would need Sam or Genevieve on the jury to give perspective to this move. That is, unless they want to take credit for themselves and not as much for him. No, I think that they would give it to Andy, because I think they would give the credit to Andy. Or at least talk about it honestly, and then the jury can, think of it as they wish. Caroline does, Andy does say, I'll explain. And so with him saying, I'll explain, I think that's just kind of messaging to the jury that I have some explaining to do, which I think is good. And Caroline leaves very, very honorably, saying that it's been an honor playing with all of you guys. She definitely is really sweet. I do like Caroline a lot. She got duped by Andy. So, she should have maybe decided to work with Genevieve and maybe go after Rachel. I don't know. She could have maybe done some other things, but she allowed Andy to get one up on her, and she's out of the game, unfortunately. And that's it for this episode. I guess Andy is getting the MVP, right?
Oh, definitely.
Oh,
definitely. Yeah. I think Andy definitely got the MVP on this one. However, I also believe that nothing could have happened without Sam. So Sam winning that immunity, or not immunity, that reward challenge, when he won that, that's the only way that this whole thing could have been put into play. So he won that. Not only did he win that, but he picked the right people too at the same time, right? He picked Genevieve, he picked Andy. I mean, those were the right people to take to the reward challenge that this whole thing came together with. So yes, Andy, day 21 moves. I mean, he came up with it, but again, wouldn't have happened without Sam. And of course, Rachel, she's a beast. She owns that little peg now where you put the immunity item.
Yep,
she owns
got
it
a home
because
there.
This is mine.
Jorge says, I personally think that Caroline fumbled this round. She knew that she was on the other side's target. She underestimated Andy, and I think she plays too safe. Same with targeting Rachel at Merge, targeting Gabe, etc. Agreed. Caroline does say that she told Sue not to use her immunity on her. So she did say to Sue, no, I think I'll be okay, which is not the right call. That
would have been a great move. That would have been I don't want to say an even better move, but if that would have happened, that would have been great on the show. Would have been a great show move if she had done that and played.
But then it would have been 2-2-2. No, it would have been 2-2, and then the revote. So Sam would have just gone out then.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I thought it was great. I mean, it would have been better, obviously, if Rachel was the one that would have gone home, for the Operation Italy. But outside of that, it was just a phenomenal show. And yeah, Andy definitely put this together. So yeah, clap for Andy. I agree. Andy's man.
What was I going to say? I forgot. But okay, so how is this going to play out in the next round? So it's going to be a 2-part finale. We're at the final 6 here. With Power, we have Sue has an idol, Rachel has an idol, and also has a block a vote. Now, do you think that Andy is going to jump back to his underdog alliance? Do you think he's going to stay in this 3-3 split here? How is this going to all shake out? Is it just going to be, Rachel just uses her block of vote, gets out Sam or Genevieve, and then next round the other person goes, and then the final 4 is those 4 with Andy, or those 3 with Andy? It's is that just how it's going to be, or do you think something more interesting is going to happen?
Sheila?
I'm not sure. Andy doesn't have any hardware. He doesn't have an idol. He doesn't have anything. So,
Could Andy be out next?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Great move, but where's the thinking ahead? Knowing that Rachel has a block of vote, knowing no one knows she has an idol. I don't know. I just don't see where it's now a 3-3. I don't think he can jump back. They're not going to take him back. He burned that bridge, don't you think?
No, because if he jumps back and he's making them part of the majority, and he sells it, hey, I'm with you guys. We're the majority again. Let's take out Sam, or let's take out Genevieve. I mean, he could do that, or he could stay with Sam and Genevieve and say, hey, let's pull one of the underdog alliances, which they truly now are the underdog alliance. Let's bring one of those over. And I don't know if we could talk about the preview, but the preview for the next show was just phenomenal. To me, when I saw what was going on, I had to stop it because it was in the dark, but you had Teeny, Sam, Genevieve, and I forget who. Oh, Teeny, Sam, Genevieve, and Andy were sitting there talking about the fact that Rachel has got a block of vote. I think, did he say she's got an idol? I can't remember.
No,
But
nobody knows she has an idol.
Nobody knows that.
Well, I didn't know because this is a preview, right? So, but we saw the four of them talking, and they're talking about Rachel, and Rachel is over the bushes listening to it. Then you see Rachel crying. So, yeah, I mean, they make it seem like the foursome there of Andy, Teeny, Sam, and Rachel. Oh no, Sam and Genevieve are going to be in the control at this point for the next episode, is what they show. So who knows what happens, but it seemed like Teeny was happy to be over with this alliance now, is what I saw in that preview.
Maybe
Sue doesn't have, like, Sue's lost everyone. She lost Gabe, then she aligned with Caroline. Caroline's gone. So Sue's like the last Tuku standing.
She was lost.
Huh?
She's lost. I mean,
we
didn't even see much of her in the preview, I don't think, at all.
Like, they do see, I think it was Andy that says to her that the idol was fake. I think it was, I'm not 100% sure it was Andy, but I think it was. Now, this could also...
It was Teeny.
It was Teeny
that said that to Sue. Yeah, Teeny said the idol's fake.
That makes sense.
It was Teeny.
Yeah, I'm not sure, because it would be best to keep that as like a looming scare.
Teeny talks though. Teeny talks.
Yeah.
Right. So she found out somehow, and she told Sue the idol's fake, and Sue was like, "Oh my God, yeah, it was Teeny." Yeah, thank you, Hales.
Thank you, Hales. So just to talk about what you were saying before, Sheila, with Andy making that vote and not necessarily having any forward thought, if he didn't make this move and he voted out Sam, and then they voted out Genevieve, and then they voted out him, like, he needed to do something to at least make a move. And so if he does get to the end, he can say that he's done something at this point. Like he's going to get to the end if he doesn't make this move, likely, but he can only really maybe win against Teeny and Sue, maybe. But like, Sue might do something with that idol, or be like, I've had this idol the whole time, and shock everybody, and Sue gets the whatever. And so he just needed to do something that was flashy and deal with the consequences, or deal with the next round when it comes, just because he had to do something, I think.
That makes sense. I get it.
Are you guys noticing how we're just talking about Andy as the main player right now? You notice that?
Just for this episode, babe. Just for this.
You notice that? You guys notice that? Andy is the main player in the game. This whole game is about Andy. Okay, so here's the progression.
Not the whole game, but maybe that episode, babe. Not the whole game.
I mean, I do think that a lot of the season has been told from Andy's perspective and how he's been navigating through this game. But it does seem a little bit like it's showing us why Andy loses potentially. I don't know if he has a winning game. But I think that he was doing something this episode to give him the best shot at a win in the end. Right now, it still looks like Rachel is going to be the winner. That's what it's seeming.
That's what it seems like. She's got a lot of hardware.
But with her crying, I'm wondering what happens there. With her crying in the preview.
Yeah, I thought maybe she's crying because they don't like me, or they're talking about me. They said bad things about me. I mean, that's what I thought, but that was just my perception of what happened. We'll see. I'm looking forward to the next episode. Let me just put it that way.
Me too.
Things are getting hot.
Jorge says, I think Andy will turn on Genevieve and Sam next tribal. LOL will lose their jury votes. I don't think that I think the best move, for my entertainment, is to just get out Sue with her idol in her pocket. Like,
yeah,
I kind of want to have all these big players like in the end here. I don't necessarily or get out Teeny. Sorry, Teeny, I like you as a person in real life, but in the game, you haven't done anything for me to really need you to be there. So I would want either Teeny or Sue out in the next two votes, and just have the four, like Genevieve, the Sam, the Rachel, and the Andy, all four of them going at it from the final four onward. I think that would be a really, really fun final. That's what I want.
So help me out here. I kept hearing about making fire, and I don't remember. Does everyone at 4 have to make fire?
If I remember correctly, how this goes down, is that there's an immunity challenge at 4. The winner of the immunity challenge will then decide who is going to come with them directly to the final 3, and the other 2 people will be doing fire against each other, and whoever wins fire will be going to the final 3, and whoever loses would be the last person on the jury.
Okay, cool.
So,
looking forward to it.
So the lore is that if you have fire in your glasses in one of like the trailers or the previews, that means that they're going to lose fire. And so right now, the person that has the fire in the glasses is Rachel. So
oh wow.
so that's what lore is. There's no
Are these,
truth behind it.
are
But
these Easter eggs that they put in there for real, or just what everyone says?
it's just people doing their own sleuthing and being like, oh, like Carson had fire in his glass. Like, all these people that have fire in their glasses, I believe they've all gone. They didn't win, I
Really?
think. And so Rachel has fire in her glasses in one preview, and so they're assuming that Rachel loses fire. So yeah, that's we'll see if that plays
would
out.
be quite the twist, because everyone's like thinking Rachel's playing an amazing game, and she is, no question, but it's just too obvious to me.
Yeah,
when is it ever that simple on Survivor?
For her to be going home. And I'm wondering if that's why she cries, is maybe like she loses the immunity and now she has to go into fire and she's not great at doing fire. Like maybe that's what's going to be happening.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know.
We shall see.
Definitely a good ending game.
That would be something, considering the ammunition she has. So
Hale says, I think Teeny's bag burning could be something about fire too. I don't think that Teeny has a shot at winning the game. I don't think there's anything that she could do.
Well, she hasn't done anything, so.
I mean, okay, what could she get? Maybe if she gets out Genevieve, I don't know. Okay, get out Genevieve, get to the end.
It's obvious no one's listening to her, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think she can do very much.
How would you rank people in order of win potential, would you say? So who was least likely to be able to win the game, would you say?
Least likely, Sue.
And
but she's got the idol. I'd say least likely Teeny. Sorry, not Sue. Teeny, and then Sue.
Right. And then who's after that, would you say? It just gets tricky here.
Oh, geez, you're making me think here. After that, I would say Sam.
I agree with that. Then Andy, probably. No, then Genevieve, then Andy, then Rachel.
I don't know. It's all mixing up in my head right now. But I guess who's going to be in the final 3? I don't know. I really don't know, because really right now it's anyone's game to lose, because they all have the opportunity to win this game right now. So it's really come down to a really good season, a good season overall. This end game thing, whatever you guys are talking about with the end game, but I do see for sure Teeny and Sue that are on the outside of that. But Sue does have an idol, so anything could happen with that. So I think it's any of them could go down to the end. I don't know who would win though. At the end, depends on who's down there. I said down there. Is it up there? Down there? I'm not sure.
There.
Down there.
Who's there? Who's there at the end?
Yeah.
Who's there at the end?
We're still live, Kathy, but we are signing off now. Do either of you have any final thoughts about this episode or what's to come? I know you're excited. Sheila, what are your final thoughts?
Oh, no, I just, looking forward to the finale and looking forward to how it all shakes out. And I've still got hope that Genevieve at least will be one of the final 3.
I think if Genevieve's final 3, she will win the game regardless of who she's sitting beside.
That's what I think.
You notice that when she said at Tribal here, just going back a little bit at Tribal, when she says, Jeff, can I just, answer that question in a roundabout way? It sounded to me like at that point she's selling the jury. So it sounded to me like you said she's an attorney or a lawyer. So she's selling the attorney selling the jury on her journey and what she discovered, and this was a rebirth for her and so forth. But I think she was speaking to the jury before she answered the question.
100%, and kind of laying the groundwork. I think it was like an unobvious apology to however she might have made them feel, being like, this is why she felt this way, and she really wants to turn a new leaf here. She really wants to make amends, and I definitely think it was a plea to the jury, so that, like, if you think I'm a cold-hearted bitch, I'm not. I actually just was protecting myself. Like, vote for me still. Like, like I think it was definitely a plea.
Now it's 2 hours next week, huh? That's
2 hours.
That's
yeah,
a big episode. 2 hours, so a lot's going to go on next week.
Lots going to go on, and like it's usually would be the last episode would be next week, but we have another episode the week after, so maybe a lot of crazy game time stuff is going to be happening. So we'll see.
We shall see.
We'll subscribe everybody to the channel.
Going on.
I know, shenanigans. Please like this video and let us know who you think. Let me hear your ranking of like who's the least likely to most likely to win this season. It's definitely coming down to the nitty-gritty, and I'm really excited to see how this season plays out. At this point, with all the potential winners, I feel like I will be happy and satisfied with anybody that is potential to win. I don't think I could be satisfied if Sue or Teeny won. Sorry, both of you. But I just don't think that there's a chance that will happen. So any of the other four, if they win, I think that the season will be a huge success. So I'm happy to see how it all unfolds.
You shall be fulfilled.
Yes, and talking about it with you two has been great. So we'll be back again next week, everybody. Ciao.
All right.
Bye.